Hi there. Are you entertaining this Thanksgiving? Are you fearful about how that big bird is going to turn out? Are you wondering what tools you'll need? How to figure out the cooking time? Are you concerned about how to know if it's done or not? Well, have no fear. Chef Karen is here. If you hang with me for just a little while, all these questions and more will be answered. Okay, so first things first. How much bird are you going to need? The number of people you're going to serve will determine how much bird you need, how many pounds. So the general rule of thumb is 1 pound of turkey per person. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but everything is not edible. There's bone, there's cartilage, there's extra sandwiches you want to make the next day. So if you're having 10 people, get a 10-pound bird. If you're having 20 people, get a 20-pound bird. And then you have to decide what type of bird you're going to buy. There is what's called injected birds, which have a solution, and it'll say something like, this has been injected with a solution of 9% or 11% or something like that. So those are there's extra sodium and flavorings that are added in there. And then there are natural birds which have no seasoning whatsoever. And in my opinion, that's the way to go. So you could get a natural bird, you could get an organic bird, or a free-range bird. Most of them are going to come frozen. So you want to thaw it out, obviously. And there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can take the bird, buy it a couple of days before you plan to cook it, 2 or 3 days before, put it in a shallow pan and sit it in the bottom of your refrigerator and just let it thaw naturally. That's the best way. The second way, if you don't have 2 or 3 days, is to take all the packaging off of it, put it in your sink, run cool water over it for a couple of hours. So you got to do a little more work that way, but you will save time. All right, so now we're going to prep the bird. It's thawed. It's in the sink here. I've taken off all the packaging. So I'm going to reach inside here in the cavity, and there should be a neck, and there is. And then also at this end, there's a little plastic piece that kind of holds everything together. You need to remove that. Don't cook that with your turkey, please. And then we're going to rinse it out a little bit to get that bloody fluids out. If it's a little bit icy inside, don't worry about that. That's fine. As long as it's not rock hard frozen. Fine. And then on the other end, closer to the wings, there should be what I call the goodies. This is the giblets, the livers, and they're in a little pouch here around where the neck was. Right here. Okay. Don't throw this away. We're going to need this later. So I'm just going to set this in a pot for later. Now, I'm going to transfer it to my roasting pan. I'm going to So I'm just going to pat this dry with a paper towel so that our herbs are going to adhere better. Okay. So now I'm going to make what's called a wet rub. So over here I have fresh herbs, and I strongly encourage you to invest in some fresh herbs for your turkey. These all go very nicely with poultry. This is fresh sage, and it has kind of a fuzzy feel to it. This is rosemary. It kind of smells like a evergreen tree. And this is thyme, very tiny leaves. So my sage, I'm just going to chop, kind of roll them up together. Okay, and then for the rosemary, you usually have you're gonna have like a very thick stem, and then the leaves is what we want. So you just kind of pull down on the stem, and the leaves come off. Love that smell. Oh, I wish we had smell-o-vision. So you could smell how wonderful this is. And we're going to chop that roughly also. Alright, and here we have thyme, and it's the same basic way we did the rosemary. Just pull down and all the little leaves just fall off. Really easy. So much better than the jar. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to add all of that to a little bowl here. And I'm going to add a little salt, not a lot, especially if you've got a turkey that has the solution added to it. there's already sodium there. And pepper. I like pepper. And olive oil. Not a whole lot, just enough to kind of cover the herbs. So this is called a wet rub. So basically it's herbs, seasonings, and some type of oil. So now we're going to season. And I like to start with the back side and then flip it over. I think it comes out better that way. I'm just going to spread it all over, nice and even. The wings, the legs, everything. I'm going to turn it over. Turn it over. Turn it over. And spread it all over the top. You just want to cover it nice and even, so all of the turkey has those flavors. And then inside also, smear a little in all around. And the oil also helps give it a nice browning on the skin. So that's another good reason to use a little bit of oil. Okay, so it's all seasoned inside and out. Now on the inside, I'm going to put some slices of lemon. And some slices of orange. Citrus is a really nice complement to turkey. Okay, so we're almost there. Now, I'm going to truss the bird. And that, all that is taking butcher's twine, and this is real easy to get this time of year. Most of the stores will have them. Comes in a ball like that. So basically, I'm just going to pull off about 2.5 times the length of the bird. And I'm just going to cut here. And then I'm going to measure about half. So I'm just going to go around the back here, around the wings, up under the legs. Pull these two guys together. I'm just going to keep pulling till it crosses over, till one leg crosses over the other. And make a couple of loops. And make a knot. And why am I doing this? Because it keeps it kind of compact, and it's supposed to help keep it, give you a more moist and juicy bird, and it gives a nicer presentation. Okay, so now we are ready to roast. I'm going to wash my hands. Please wash your hands often after you handle the bird. Wash all of your surfaces. Wash your sink. Wash your countertop. Disinfect everything. And the oven is preheated to 325. And I'm going to put it in. And now we rest. How long? Real simple formula. 20 minutes a pound. So 20-pound bird, which is what I have, times 20 minutes is 400 minutes, which is about 3.5 hours. I mean, 5.5 hours. So, no, 6.5 hours. Math was not my strong suit. Can you tell? So we're going to bake, roast, 6.5 hours, and then we're going to come back. Okay, so now we're going to make a quick broth from the giblets and the livers. This is what's in that little sack of goodies that's inside the cavity of the turkey. Okay. So I'm going to add, I have some chopped, a couple of stalks of celery, just roughly chopped, and a medium-sized onion sliced. I'm just going to add that to my pot. And then I have here about 4 cups of water. And then I'm going to go to the stove. And I'm just going to bring that to a boil, turn it down to a simmer, and let that go for about 15 minutes. And then from that, that's our broth to make our gravy. Okay, so now we're going to make our homemade gravy. Here are the pan drippings from the turkey. And I have it over some 2 burners. So I'm going to turn on the heat like medium. And here I have some all-purpose flour. So I'm going to sprinkle a little of that in. And this is going to help thicken the gravy. I'm just going to stir that around with the pan. So we just want to cook the flour out a little bit so so it doesn't have a flour taste. Add a little bit more. There's a lot of juices here. Okay. So I got a little mesh strainer here. I'm going to take the quick stock that I made and pour that over. And we're going to bring that up to a boil. And you want to kind of keep an eye on it and stir it so you don't have lumps. And all these little pieces here, you know, you can always strain that out afterwards. Okay, and there we have, it's come to a boil. It's thickening up. And if you wanted it thinner, you know, you could add a little more water. If you wanted it thicker, you could add a little more flour. So it's all a matter of your personal taste. And there you have homemade gravy. Okay, so now that we made our gravy, we're going to strain it so it's a little bit smoother. You just pour from one corner through a mesh strainer into a bowl or measuring cup. I like using a measuring cup because it has a spout on it. Just enough space. Okay. rest of that out of here. Okay. Now we have nice, smooth, homemade gravy. Okay, so let's see how the turkey turned out. Oh boy. How about that? Nice, even browning and perfectly seasoned. How do you check for doneness? Well, there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can use an instant read thermometer, and you want to probe between the thigh and the drumstick, and you're looking for an internal temperature of 165 degrees or higher. Also keep in mind that the temperature will rise over the next 30 minutes. So even if it's a little under, you're probably still fine. Also, you can prick the skin with a fork, and you're looking for clear juices to come out. Also, you can wiggle the drumstick a little bit, and if it moves easily, that's another sign of doneness. So now, how do we serve it? How do we take it apart? You want to let it rest for about 45 minutes, and the larger it is, the longer you want to let it rest. And this gives the juices a chance to redistribute, so you don't have dry turkey. So we're going to take the twine off. Actually, I need to cut all the strings. Okay, so you start by taking off the drumstick, which is really easy. Just cut right at the joint. And again, if it's done, it shouldn't be a problem at all. Then this is our breast meat here, the white meat, which most of us like to carve from. So we're just going to cut, here's the middle bone here. So you're just going to cut one long incision here. And then another across just above the thigh and where the drumstick was. And you should get a nice wedge to carve from. So from here, it's pretty easy. So you can see, and it's so tender, it's falling apart. So then, take a nice platter. You have some carved meat, you have your drumstick. And lastly, we're going to cut this wing off. So you kind of need to raise up a little bit and look for that. You can kind of feel for that joint between the main body and that first segment on the wonderful skin. And now you're ready to serve Thanksgiving dinner. So I hope this has taken away some of your fears and concerns about how to prepare a turkey on Thanksgiving. And my name is Chef Karen Crawford Moore, and I wish you a happy, blessed, and tasty Thanksgiving.